as I was saying, welcome to part two. I was speaking about my experiences and what woke me up. Um, I realized that I had a gift of sight. I used to call myself the watchman even before I knew I had a gift of sight, because I wouldn't sleep at night, and when I sleep in the day, I would have dreams that come home to me like reality. Um, I would see trouble coming from a mile. As a child, people would tell me, "You talk too much. Why you? How you know that?" I didn't even know how I know, and so when I couldn't explain how I knew, I was hated. I was disliked, but that's okay. Um, I woke up to being able to hear and to see. Um, Especially in the Corona period, I saw Corona coming three, maybe 4 to 5 months before it happened. I saw it a year before as a flood. Didn't know what a flood meant because I was studying dreams and what dreams meant. But 3 months after that, I told my manager at work. I work for an international company, and I told my manager at work that, okay, there's something coming our way, and I would like to go ahead of it and to help you to prepare for it, because I live in the Caribbean, and this is an American business. We're in offshore, and we handle customer calls for various entities and organization. I was a manager at the time, and I want mid level manager, and I knew it was coming, and I went to him, my director, and I said to him, "There's something coming our way. I don't know what it is yet," and I couldn't explain to him. And that's the difference with the physical and the spiritual. You don't always have the full information, and you have to be obedient. I said to him when Corona came in, "This is it. It's Corona. This thing here, we don't know what it is." Um, However, we're in the first couple of weeks of it showing up in other countries, and we were worried about how it was going to impact us and how it was going to impact our businesses. And I went to him and I said, "This is what I was talking to you about, and I want, I want to go ahead of it. I want to help us as an organization go ahead of it. Let me go out and see the problem." My campaign was an in-house campaign, so we didn't work from home. No, working from home was going to be the reality of many of us, and we've never done that before. I said, "Send me with a team. Send me home. Let me train a team to go home. I'll go home with them. I'll manage them from that perspective. I'll learn their growths. I'll learn what the drawbacks are. And I'll be able to catalog them and come up with a plan so that when we have to send out larger groups of people, we'd be ahead of what the issues are." Mind you, my director, he's white. He's he's in an interracial relationship, but I don't think he's exposed to spirituality at this level in the Creole context. He said to me, "No, this will blow over in 3 days." Well, it took 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. And the company lost a lot of revenues during that time because you're sending home people with personal information for customers. You're asking me in my house to be honest to your ideals. I'm taking credit card information and payments. I am booking on other people's behalf. I'm taking down information to start accounts. Whatever it is that come, even people's social, I'm using. Those are some of the possibilities that happen under that kind of organization. And if I can't get staff to be honest while in house, while on the plantation, that's what we used to call it, while on the location, you're expecting them to be honest when they go home. I said to him, "Let me go ahead of this. Let me find out what the growths are. What are some of the drawbacks that we're going to have? Some of the limitations that we're going to face. Some of the problems that we're going to face. What we can do. What are some practices that we can keep? Or some." He said no. Corona lasted 3 years, and at the end of the 3 years, he was sent back to his country and he was fired because of the amount of money that was lost. Now, I'm not saying this to gloat over this. When I used to go to work at that time on that same job prior to Corona, I used to use my spiritual gift to do my job, and people would wonder, How is it that you're not stressed out? Because it's a very stressing job. I didn't, if I didn't have 10 meetings per day, I didn't have any. Not to mention on Fridays. I mean, it's not easy to work with people, but I find fun working with people. I find it enjoyable and enjoy the joy that I gain from it because I am in my center place. I carry my own bubble. Apart from carrying my own bubble, I speak life. My department is mine as a leader to manifest what I want. You are my subordinates, but I don't have to treat you like that. I don't have to come at you and dictate to you when I have authority over the energy in the space. So, certain issues that other people would have, I didn't have. Uh, when my agents are in, I knew how to manipulate the energy around them for their own good, with them knowing. I said, when I come in here in the morning, I come in here charged, my energy is charged, and I don't expect disruptions with my energy. Here's what we're going to accomplish for the day, and this is why we're using this. I use numerology, I use psychology, I use astrology, and I use affirmations, and I use intentions, and I used it across the board. Before I became a manager, I was an agent, and as an agent, I was required to make 25 calls for the day and 5 sales for the day. I hated making sales calls because I just felt like, oh, it's so typical. I'm tired of this. I wanted to do something else. So I just did bare minimum. And I sat down for a whole week watching the timeline, realizing that there are high volume times of the day that I don't need to make any calls. I just ring the phone just to ring the phone's sake, just to make sure they know that I'm working. And I would analyze the timeline and people's energy, look at the state, the numbers, and the area codes of where I'm calling, so that I could study the environment around people, traffic time, when people are actually at home, what people do in the city, so that I could talk to people better. And I would make 5 sales every day before I go home, and I would start to make those 5 sale calls. I would leave work at 5:30 and made my sale calls between 5 o'clock and 5:30. People would ask me, how do you do that? I said, because I set the intention and I take action to know what I'm doing, and so that I can apply the knowledge that I have. I said, these customers that I call, already know who they are. I look them up. I look at their profile. There is a list of information on their application. I look them up and I try to know them based up, analyze them personality wise, analyze them income wise, interest wise, lifestyle wise. So when I'm talking to them from a place of knowledge. I'm not trying to sell them an idea that don't make any sense to them. I'm selling an idea that is impacting them in a true way. Well, spirituality is the same thing. I cannot come here and talk about prayer, fasting, meditation, candle work, root work, um, cleansing. Those are just tools. I could do I could do what the psychic do. I could do card readings. I could tell you how to light a candle, how to burn a candle, how to choose the colors, how to analyze the candle, um, write a spell, how to set your intentions, how to use timeline psychology, how to use astrology and astronomy, numerology. I could tell you all of that, but that is on the internet for everybody to have. What I want you to do is to know that you are the foundation of all of those things. You are the light. Everything else is a tool that you're going to use to transmit, transmute, transform, and translate that energy. So I don't want you to, oh, be limited to a candle. What are you going to do in Corona when you can't have access to half the things that you need? Are you going to depress and go kill yourself? No. I want you to be empowered in yourself. Understand that what you think is power. What you say is power. You can command your feeling in your body. You can command your body. You can command your space. You can command your household. You can command your community. You can command your region. And that is the most important part of spirituality. Understanding your command, understanding your kingship, your lordship, your godliness, and your domain, your dominion. And people say, but you read the Bible. So how is it that you talk about all these things? I can tell you that anything you want to find in the Bible, you'll find it, whether good or evil. It's there. Anything you want to find in the Bible, anything you want to use the Bible for, you can. Good and evil is right there. Because all things come in duality, my dear. That is the next level of your development. After you move through the rounds, you'll have to work with your duality. If you're not willing to work with your duality, you're going nowhere fast. Until you accept the light and the dark that you are and make a choice in what you want to foster, you're not moving to the next level. And that is one of the reasons why spiritually we don't grow in our church communities or in our spiritual communities. And I can only talk about church because that's what I know. I've never been anything else. I've tried Rastafarianism. But church, whether I went to the Kingdom Hall or Seventh-day Adventist or New Testament, but church, until you are willing to accept what your duality is, your spirituality will never improve. Your lifestyle will never improve. And what we do in our spiritual walk as Christians is limit ourselves to only what we hear the pastor says. We don't read the Bible and we don't ask the Spirit to guide us. And the Spirit says He will guide us in all truth. All truth. So we rely on somebody else's guidance rather than rely on the spiritual guidance of the Holy Spirit. When you hear what the Holy Spirit have to say, let your pastor confirm it, but not let the pastor say it and then you confirm it. That's backwards. Then, once you accept that duality, when you're seeing something negative in your life, you'll know that it comes from you innately, and you will also have to look at the other side to see what can I do over here to create a different reflection over here. When you're seeing something over here that is one way or another and it's reflecting over here, what can I do? How can I impact it? Should I give thanks for this? This is why it's showing up. Because is this real? Is it coming from here, or is it coming from here, or is it come from here? Once you find the power to operate in your duality, you will find that your intuition is going to be heightened, and that is going to be the next level, where your triune energy becomes fostered. Your triune energy becomes fostered. So it is your left, your right, and your divine energy. Once you're working with that level, some people stay there forever. But trust me, there's much more to go and much more empowerment for you to experience. You're going to be growing in your most holy faith. You know, your light is going to be so brilliant. But it all starts with number one. Michael Jackson would say, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. He was talking about his duality. After you get through duality, you go through your intuitive stage where you're looking at your divine energy. After that, you're going to go into your quadrant energy where you're looking at light, which is your origin, your reflection, your deflection, and your translation into death back into life, which is the 4 quarters. Most people stuck there, stay there too. Yeah? But after you get through that level, then you move into your pentacle, which is your 5-pointed level. Your 5-pointed level is where you're now standing above it all, looking down. And that is like the tree of life. And you're looking down from where you started to your pentacle. Then you have a few more gates to go. After you see the pentacle stage and you're looking down, you're now seeing all things in its realistic way. Yeah, you're seeing why things happen to you this way. You're seeing patterns from the past. You're seeing into the other dimensions. You're seeing associations and relationships. And then you're spending more time alone because you have to be processing all of this. And at this point, you have to be careful not to walk in what you'll consider. What's the term that am I looking for? I'm looking for the term you're walking in anger, or you're walking in my pastor used that term. I'll tell you the term. You're walking in a state of, oh, why did they do this or why did they do that? But you have to understand at this point that you have to accept it for what it is, right? At this point, once you get out of, when you go to the quadrant state, let me go back. When you go to the quadrant state, you have to die. That's where you die. That's where you go to the cross. It's called the cross. 4 stages. Reflection. No, origin, reflection, dissension, death, translation back to life. You have to die. Once you die, you come above it all. But most people don't want. Everybody want to die, but nobody don't want to die. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. You have to die to the flesh. Once you die to the flesh and you go into your Pentacle stage and you start seeing all things, walking in your own power, being able, because the five-pointed head has now can translate its power in all dimensions. So you can operate wherever you want based on how you see fit, as well as you can impact other people's life based on how you see fit. You're not only in your own bubble, but you're translating in other people's bubble and transforming. No, you can command. You're commanding your atmosphere. You're now seated, you know, you're in your ministry. But even after that, you still have to go further up and out into your seventh heaven. In your seventh heaven, you in your seventh heaven, you are impacting other people's life at a different level. You want to impact people's life at a different level. You start in seeing the purpose of everything at a different level, and you're operating in silence. You start moving silent. You're making moves to prepare you for the next level, sorting out and sorting out everything to make sure that when you get to the next level, you don't have any issues. This is a level where you're going to be very isolated, very confused. But when you get to the 8th level, you start realizing that all that you're sowing is coming back to you, and everything that was taken from you has now been reinstated. You are in a karmic vibration, and you are more aware of yourself. You are more concerned about what you put in, because you know what you put in is what you're going to get out. You're operating above time. You're not operating in the dimension of seed. Yeah? So what you sow is what you reap. And then you get to the 9th level, which is the level of life. The level of life where you're pregnant. You are pregnant, but it's in the headspace. We're operating in the headspace. You're at your 9th gate and you're living. You're alive, you know? You're living. You're not living by flesh. Desires mean nothing. Appetite mean nothing. Sickness mean nothing. Death mean nothing. Poverty mean nothing. Limitations you have none of. You are now connected to the divine. But once you get beyond, you have 3 more gates to go. You have 3 more gates to go, and those 3 gates are very important. Once you shoot out of that gate, you're now connected to the divine. You're not dead. You're still in your flesh, but you're operating at the crown, not just sight, but at your crown. You're now crowned with the crown of life. And this is where you want to get the heck out of here. You really want to get out of here. You feel bored. Nothing out here feels important to you again, except like me who have kids. I know I have to be here for the kids, but you just want to get the heck out of here. You just want to see the next level. You're excited and you're enthused. But there are 2 more gates to be discovered, and we'll talk about those 2 gates another time. It's important that we just bask in the light and the divine and learn the divine. It's time to have a full relationship, a comprehensive relationship with your divine self, understanding that you were there from the foundation and you allowed yourself to go through all of this to return back to source, and it's a beautiful place to be. At this point, you owe no one anything except yourself. Yeah, everything that came to you because you desired it. Everything that you lost because it was part of your plan, a part of your divine plan. It's like love. It's the first time you'll really fall in love. You fall in love with divine energy. Now, I encourage you to, when you're on your journey, you feel tired, don't give up. It's a real place. It's a real struggle, but it's a real. There's a future and expectation. There's an end result. There is a crown to gain. There's life to live beyond it. Hold fast. Stay strong. Let the little light that you have, let it be. Fan it. Nurture it, because it gets brighter. But you have to give it what to burn. Allow it to burn through. You will not die. It will not kill you, but you will die to the flesh and you'll become exactly what you were designed to be, divine. My name is Charma Lois, your vibrational healer, spiritual developmental coach, and your guide, your light bidding you, your conscience bidding you to shine brighter and to ignite your space.